Hello friends, I'm Kendra Winchester. Welcome back to my channel. I guess I haven't been here for a hot second. I took the second half of January off because I'm not feeling the greatest and I'm still a little bit slow on the uptake, but I have a lot of books sitting around my little reading corner here in the living room, and I really need to put them away. So we are going to go over some of my recent book mail and do a little book haul. Okay, so today we are doing this book haul, and for me, I don't often read descriptions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to include links to all the books I mentioned today in the description box. If you're like, Kendra didn't really describe that very well, please follow the link and read the description for yourself. Combination of me not reading text very well and not really wanting to know what a lot of these books are about, but we'll just roll with it. All right, so let's just jump right in. There's so many. Okay, so I have the Kamigawa Food Detectives by Hisashi Kashiwai, and this is translated by Jesse Kirkwood. Reading backwards is always fun. So this is described as like a cozy book, like the book Before the Coffee Gets Cold. What this is about is a mother-daughter team who have this little diner, and what they're able to do is like recreate one of the favorite meals of your life that's often connected to memories. So it's kind of giving that kind of vibe that Before the Coffee Gets Cold has, where it's really cozy and you're looking at memories and trying to recreate things and regret and longing and all of those things. Next up is Confrontations by Simone Ntaganda Bikono, and this is translated by Suzanne Hugensfeldt Jansen. And this is a book from Bloomsbury, and this is about a young woman who has a Cameroonian father and a Dutch mother, and she's living in the Netherlands. This is very short. I don't really want to know much more about this, but I've seen a lot of great buzz about it, so I added it to my list. So I often like to listen to fun, like just fun adventure escapist kind of books before I go to sleep, which you will discover in my January wrap up. And so I was very excited to receive a copy from Flatiron of The Longest Autumn by Amy Avery. All I know about this book is that, sorry, someone to walk by my window, is that this land has now become in the permanent state of autumn, and while to me, as someone who loves fall, favorite season, the problem is that then they can no longer grow food, and so it's an issue. So you have someone who is trying to figure out how to end the endless autumn. I'm here for it. Ready to go. Next up is Sugar Baby by Celine St. Clair, and this is about a young biracial woman. And so this is set in the UK, and it's about, I think, the protagonist getting kicked out of her parents' apartment and having to survive on her own. I'm not exactly sure, but this cover, I can't stop staring at it. Next up is a book by Catherine Min, who unfortunately passed away in 2019, and so this is her last novel. I don't know how many, if she has another novel or short story collections or what, but they were able to publish this book, and this is The Fetishist, and this is about a young, I believe, Asian American woman who yes, she's Japanese American, and she meets this man who has a thing for Asian American women, and that is gross. So that is, I guess, is when she discovers that this man has a thing for Asian American women, and that kind of is the catalyst for the rest of the novel. So this is a book from Australia. This is Prima Facie by Susie Miller, and this is about a young, I believe she's like a criminal defense barrister, and so she is very involved in the justice system, and then when she's sexually assaulted by a coworker, it really becomes very personal for her, and this is kind of her story. Another book from Australia, we have Radiant Heat by Sarah Jane Collins, and this is like a mystery thriller book about a woman who survives a wildfire in Australia, and like I think that it goes into like who set the fire, like what's going on with the fire. and like the chain of events that this whole wildfire set off in her life and how it really changed everything. So this is Village in the Dark by Iris Yashishida, and this is a crime novel set in, I believe, is it Anchorage, Alaska? Yes, in the winter. And I've seen a lot of different cold weather mystery novels come out, and so I'm very excited to get to this one. In fact, we are doing a cold weather mystery novel theme on Read or Dead, so I'll link the podcast down in the description box. But if you want to hear me talk more about mystery thrillers and horror books, definitely check out that podcast. So this is a book, We Were Once a Family by Roxana Asgharian, and I believe this was this like longlisted for the National Book Critics Circle Award? I can't remember. It was recently on an award, like longlist or shortlist. And so this is about a woman who investigates really what's going on with the U.S. immigration system. And she gives like this nonfiction account of what she's doing as part of her inquiry. So this book is about to come out in paperback. This is the hardback, but definitely check it out if you haven't already. And this is definitely one of the 2023 titles I want to be able to like circle back and like get to in 2024. So definitely putting this high on my list. So this is a book from Europa, and this is from the author of The Elegance of the Hedgehog, Muriel Barbary, and this is 1 Hour of Fervor. And so this is about a Japanese man who has an affair with a French woman, and she becomes pregnant, and it's really what they decide to do after that. So this is The Fair Folk by Sue Bristow, and this is about a woman who in the 1950s, I believe has a like interaction with fairies, and they're like, I don't bestow good fortune upon her or something. I'm not entirely sure, but it's like her interaction with them and how they change her life. I do love this cover. I love how Europa's books feel in my hand. I remember when I first read My Brilliant Friend, and I was like, I love this. What is this? And that was one of the first times that I really got into a book from Europa. And I've loved them ever since. So Jennifer Croft is a translator. I believe she translates Olga Tokarczuk, is that right? Yes. So this is The Extinction of Irina Ray. This is her first novel, and so when I heard that this was about a bunch of translators, I was like, yes, I am in. Also, it's Jennifer Croft, who's a great writer. She had her own memoir, I think it's called Homesick, come out a few years ago. And so I've been so excited for this. I love things like that. Just like the drama that goes on between people who like writers and translators and all that. It's catnip for me. Okay, so some of the next books are books I actually picked up for a video idea, and I'm going to name all of them and give them up here. And there are about 4 of them. And so let's see if you can guess what that video idea is. So this next 4 are ones I picked up for a video idea. First, we have The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chan. This has been everywhere. I picked this up because I listened to an interview on Day Beautiful with Adam Bitcavage. He's a podcast friend of mine, and I really love this interview that he did with Vanessa Chan. She's a great interview, and so this is about her story set in Malaysia around World War II, and I believe a mother does something terrible that she wants to forget. And then we also have a timeline in the present where she's trying to like emotionally deal with that, and her kids don't really know what happened during World War II. So that is the impression that I'm getting about this book, but it's been everywhere. It was chosen as a Good Morning America book club pick, and I've seen it all over the internet. Next is, well, speaking of Adam from Day Beautiful, this is his favorite debut of 2023, so I went and I picked it up on Pango Books. Pango is a website, or an app, I should say, where you can sell used books, and I have a store there. I sell books there, but you can also find books there. And one of the things I love about Pango is that you can see the book that you're buying, so you know what edition it is, because I don't like Book of the Month club edition of books or use library books. That's not really what I want to include in my library. So I'm able to see the book I'm actually going to buy. So I picked this one up there, and this is All Night Pharmacy by Ruth. I can't read cursive with the way my brain is. By Ruth Medivsky. There we go. And so there is, like, you can see different things about it. So for example, this is a used book, and it has her library seal inside, but otherwise it's in perfect condition. It's originally from Catapult, so I'm very excited to read this book. All I know it has to do with this woman and being a pharmacist. That's it. That's all I have. No idea what else it's about, and I don't really want to read anything else. If Adam tells me it's his favorite debut of the year, I'm gonna read it. I picked this one up, Kala by Colin Walsh, and I also picked this up on Pango, and this is a book about a friend group, and I think someone in the friend group dies, and it's a whole crime novel. I thought this would be a good way to get, you know, to find more crime books for Read or Dead. It was checking so many boxes, and for whatever reason, last year I was very into Irish authors, so I have so many books from more Irish authors that I have bought in the last half of 2023, and this novel is in such good condition. It's from Doubleday here in the US. So very excited about this one. Last but certainly not least is a book that I've seen everywhere. I've had my eye on this book for months and months and months, and I don't know, I just didn't pick it up for ages. So finally I decided to get a copy, and this is Daniel Mason's North Woods, which is about, I believe, a house in the woods, and it, like, that's the central point, and there are like different sections, almost like short stories that move through time and what's going on with this house. So I'm very interested. Everyone I have talked to and seen online adores this book. I don't think I've ever seen a review where someone didn't like this book. Of course, also this cover, just, I love it. I love it so much. Okay, so those are the books that I picked for a special project. Let me know what you think it is. And now it's time for even more books. So to wrap up our second stack here, we have The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. This just came out or is about to come out, and it is a fantastical novel. Look at those end papers. Oh my goodness, it looks gorgeous. So this is about Cassie Andrews, who works in a bookstore in New York City, and I think she's falling through doors. Is it a book of doors? Like, what is happening? I don't know, but it's supposed to be fantastical, cozy bookstore novel, and that is all I need to know. That's all I need to know. It has deckled edges. I am team deckled edge. I'm so sorry to disappoint all of you who hate them, but I do love them, and this is one of my favorite colors, and it's just so beautiful. So we have the Book of Doors, and now it's time for the Book of Love. Also gorgeous. They look like they go together, don't they? This is from Kelly Link. Kelly Link is a huge favorite of mine. Her short stories from Get in Trouble, and I think it's like White Cat, Black Dog. Those short stories are phenomenal, and this is her debut novel. So even though she's been nominated for the Pulitzer Prize for her short stories, this is the first time she has a novel, and it is hefty. This book is so heavy. The pages are like so thin. There's a lot going on with this. And I am not going to lie, I have never read the description for this book. I'm really bad about it normally, but this is excessive perhaps, but I don't need to know. It is Kelly Link. It's one of my most anticipated books of the season. I'm so excited. So this book for sure was a finalist for the National Book Critics Circle Award, and that is Creep, Accusations and Confessions by Miriam Gerba, and this is an essay collection. Now, this is by the woman who wrote about American Dirt. That's what it was. And so she posted this, I think on her blog or something. She posted like an essay about American Dirt, and that really started the conversation about what was going on with American Dirt. So I'm so happy she finally has her own book out. I'm excited that this is now available in audio so I can read more of her writing, because when it's online, it's really difficult for me to read it. And I think text to voice technology just really saps a lot of the humanity out of articles, but I digress. So it's all in one place. I'm so excited for her and her nomination, and excited to read it. Now, here on BookTube, a longtime favorite is Helen Oyeyemi. This is Parasol Against the Axe, and this is a novel by Helen Oyeyemi. She does a lot of fairy tale inspired stories. Like she did a Hansel and Gretel, like story. I think the last novel was like Gingerbread or something. I really love fairy tale inspired things, and she just has such a beautiful imagination. And so I was like, yes, I will. I'm so excited for another Helen Oyemi. Yes, please. So the last two books in this stack, before I get to my special bookstore haul, are two books that I picked up for Read Appalachia. So I reached out to both publishers for different reasons for coverage for Read Appalachia, and so they were kindly sent me Mercury by Amy Jo Burns, and this is from, and I think she's from Appalachian, Pennsylvania. And so she has written a book called Shiner, I believe, was her debut novel. And then she also has a memoir. But this book was everywhere. I think it's like a Barnes & Noble book club pick. Everyone is very excited for it. And so I never read any of her books, even though I own Shiner over there on my book cart. But I'm very excited for her book and can't wait to sit down and listen to it. And the last one I have is one of my most, I would say my most anticipated book of the year. And that is Crystal Wilkinson's book, Praise Song for the Kitchen Ghost. This was my pick for Book Riot's most anticipated books of the year. This is, as she describes it, a culinary memoir. Now, a couple things about this book. This was sent to me by the publisher because I had Crystal on Read Appalachia as part of the first episode of season 2 of Read Appalachia, the podcast. And so the theme of that episode is Appalachian foodways. And so I had Erica Abrams Locklear and she talked about Appalachia on the Table, which is her book about how the types of food Appalachian people eat has impacted the way that outsiders view Appalachian people. And there's often a lot of stereotypes around the food that Appalachian people eat because, our culture is more mountain, more working class type cultures. So I interviewed her on a more like macro look at Appalachian foodways, and then I interviewed Crystal Wilkinson for a more micro look, and this is specifically at her family, at generations of Black country cooks from Kentucky. And it is a stunning book. So each chapter has stories from her life, and she usually centers it around like members of her family or a particular time in her life or whatever it is, and then she gives us recipes from her family. Crystal was mostly raised by her grandmother because her mother had a lot of mental health issues, and so a lot of these recipes are from her grandmother, and it is it's a beautiful book. I adore it. It's so good. And then I was able to go to my local library here where she came and did an event, and I was able to meet her in person for the first time. I've interviewed her a couple times for podcasts and we've gone back and forth. She's been very supportive of the anthology I'm editing that's writing from disabled Appalachian people, and I'm just so grateful. We do share a publisher just for transparency, but not for this book. She is working on a new imprint for the University Press of Kentucky, and that's where my anthology is coming from. But this is from, I think, what is this? Clarkson? I think this is Clarkson Potter, which is a PRH imprint. So gorgeous, stunning book. I mean, look at the naked hardcover. It just looks like an old cookbook, right? It's full color images. I just hope she wins all the things for this book. It is my favorite book that I've read so far this year. It's so good. It's so good, and I love it. So definitely check this one out. So my last stack of books is from a bookstore here in the upstate of South Carolina. It's open one weekend a month, and you walk in and it's pallets and pallets of overstock books, and they're all 70% off. So I went through and got a lot of books. So when I went in, there were a lot of books from specific publishers, and one of them was DK Books, and I was so happy to find Egyptian Myths, Meet the Gods, Goddesses, and Pharaohs of Ancient Egypt, written by Jean Menzies, illustrated by Katie Ponder. And this, of course, is written by BookTube's own Jean. I was so excited to see this. I definitely want to pick up her other books, and I also noticed that they're all now on audiobook here in the US, so I can finally read them. But Egyptian Mythology is my personal favorite. They didn't have any of the other ones, or I would have picked them up as well. I have them, I'll have to get them somewhere else, but I was so excited to find this. It's beautifully illustrated. My nephew will be so excited. He's inherited my love of mythology. Absolutely love it. I am so excited. The warehouse had so many books from DK, Chronicle Books, National Geographic. So I did pick up a few gifts for my nieces and nephews from when we visit them later this spring. But oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. The other publisher that I really loved that was there was Orbit Books, which is Hachette Books' fantasy and science fiction imprint. So I got a lot of books from them. In fact, all but one of them is from that. So I picked up the Inheritance trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. I've already read 100,000 Kingdoms, but I did not own it. And this is her debut novel. And these are the last two books of hers that I haven't read from her backlist. So I picked them up as well. So now I have the complete trilogy, and these are the reprint editions that came out in the last few years. And then I also picked up two books I've already read but didn't own. And this is her Dream Blood duology, which I also really enjoyed. So happy to have those in print. And then I also picked up all of Anne Leckie's Ancillary Justice trilogy, and then the, I guess, bonus book, sequel, companion book, I'm not sure. But she has all of these gorgeous new covers. So this is Ancillary Justice, and it's the first book to win 3 big awards. It was the Hugo, Nebula, and Arthur C. Clarke Award. It's the only book to have ever won all of those in the same year. So we have the original book. We have book 4, which is Providence. I don't know why these are all backwards. This is Ancillary Mercy. And then we have Ancillary Sword. So we have all of these books from this world that she's created, and I'm so excited. It's about a ship that has, it's like a sentient ship that was then put into, is it a human body or a robot body? I don't know. It moves from being a ship to being stuck in some sort of body, and it's very unhappy about it. And that's all I know. That's all I need to know. I've heard nothing but incredible things about that series, and I love the new cover, so I was so happy I was able to pick up all of them at once. And this one is from Red Hook, which is an imprint of Orbit, and this is Gakei by Vaishnavi Patel. And this is a retelling of, I think, is it Hindu mythology? Whatever it is, I'm very excited to finally get a copy of it. There is another book from this author that's coming out in 2024. I have an arc of it sitting over in my office, but I was able to find the original hardcover. I've been on Pango looking for this book, and most of the editions I see are the Book of the Month copy, which I was not wanting. And so this one has the foil, it has the deckled edges. This is the edition that I wanted, and I'm so happy to find it. Aside from Orbit, there was not a lot of fiction books at this warehouse. They mostly had like cookbooks, books about nature. They had board books, books for kids, like the random gifts you see in Barnes & Noble. You had all those educational hardback books that I've already mentioned. That was really it. But I found this book sitting at the bottom of an empty box. So I think it must have been gone in the morning, because we got there in the afternoon. We were not fighting the crowds, for sure. And so I picked up The Sweetness of Water by Nathan Harris. This was an Oprah's Book Club pick in 2021. And I've heard great things about it. It's about, I believe, 2 enslaved men, the end of the Civil War, and they fall in love, I think. So I am unsure, but I remember Silas House talking about this book on his Instagram at some point, and that he really enjoyed it. And so I picked it up because, again, there weren't a lot of fiction books there outside of Orbit, but it was really cool for finding it. Anyway, so those are the plethora of books that I have. This took way too long to describe all of them, but tell me your favorites. What are you excited to get to, and where should I start? I mean, I'm going to read, actually, I'll tell you where I'm going to start. I'm going to read The Book of Doors and The Book of Love. first, and where should I go from there? Let me know. All right, that's it from me, and I'll talk to you all in the next one.